short introductions, 60-second introductions, is going to comprise of me providing general advice. So this isn't just specifically to college essays, but also the college application process, and also various points that we should all consider that maybe the 6 panelists didn't necessarily consider wholly and maybe regretted it later, or are really happy that they did through the application process. And the goal is to make this very specific and generalized to students, whether you're a freshman or whether you're a senior, kind of trying to finish the last of your college essays. And after this portion, which will be a little under 10 minutes, we'll go into panelist specific questions. So that third point will actually be jumping into breakout rooms, and I'm going to stop my screen share now so that the 6 of us can go through and introduce ourselves. Actually, I'm going to, pop back up. I lied real fast. You should be able to see my screen again. These are the 6 team members that are here. So what you can see our faces so that you know who is talking during the Zoom call. We'll each be spearheading our own Zoom rooms. 3 of us did go to UCLA, 2 of us went to Harvey Mudd College, 1 of us went to Cal Poly SLO, but we were accepted, some combination of us, to every single UC system school, every single CSU system school, and many private schools. So we chose the schools that we did based off of our personal situations, but we still have a lot of feedback to provide. We did take part in a wide array of different internship opportunities, which is a really important part of the university, research opportunities, and then we all ended up through our circuitous paths finding our ways to the same startup, which is Tutorfly. So now I'll stop my share. Actually, I'll keep it going here. I'll just go first and we'll go from left to right. So Alejandro, after I'm done, I'll call on you, and then Sharon will go, and so forth. So a little bit about myself. I'm Parsa Rezvani. I graduated from Homestead High School in Cupertino, California, so not too far away from Mission. I was a well-rounded student, but didn't necessarily go deep in any one area. So for example, I was involved in campus in ASB, was on the volleyball team and the soccer team, part of honor societies like CSF and NHS, competed in FBLA, but wasn't a standout in any one particular area. I then went on to UCLA, so graduated in 2018, not too long ago, with a major in economics and a minor in entrepreneurship. So it's one of those kind of programs that isn't necessarily available at every school that I really enjoyed. And I wrote one of my college essays to highlight my cultural background. Both my parents immigrated from Iran during the revolution. And then another essay to highlight my entrepreneurial spirit that I didn't feel as though the college application adequately was able to capture just through the numbers and the submissions. So please come to my breakout room if you're interested in a couple points. One is interested in majoring in anything related to business, economics, entrepreneurship, accounting, anything of that sort. Or if you want me to take a peek or have a specific question about a portion of your college essay, then I'd recommend coming to my breakout room. So I'll turn it over now to Alejandro, if you want to, and he's the gentleman right here. So Alejandro, if you want to unmute yourself and provide an overview, that'd be great.
Hey everybody, I'm Alejandro here. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, grew up in the San Fernando Valley, went to high school at North Hollywood High School, surprisingly in North Hollywood, and graduated in 2012. Throughout high school, I was really focused on my track and field cross-country career, but also super focused on my academics. And I kind of like had an interplay between my competitiveness in track, kind of dedicating to me also being competitive and pushing myself in my academics in general. Graduated from Harvey Mudd College in 2016 with a joint computer science and mathematics degree. So in my college essays, I kind of wrote about my experience as growing up as a competitive runner, and again, just like how that that drive kind of also showed up in how I wanted to challenge myself with all of the classes I wanted to take, the AP classes I wanted to take throughout high school. So feel free to visit my table if you're interested in majoring in some kind of technical field like computer science or math. And if you have any questions on your college essays in general. I think next up in the list is Sharon, so feel free to go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Sahota, and I am from Livingston, California, and graduated from Livingston High School in 2016. I was also a pretty well-rounded student. I was involved in clubs like Key Club and CSF, as well as athletics, while also focusing on my academics as well. I graduated from UCLA after that, actually this year, with a major in business economics and a minor in entrepreneurship. So in one of my college essays, I kind of wrote about my cultural background as well. In another essay, I wrote more about my experience as a competitive basketball player and kind of like how that shaped me as a person growing up. But yeah, you can visit my table if you are interested in majoring in anything really business, economic, entrepreneurial, or consulting related. Um, or if you're like curious about any other ways to be involved on college campuses like business or women leadership groups. And yeah, if you don't want any like specific feedback on questions about your college essays. I think Angela is up next.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Angela. Sorry for the lack of webcam. I think it's kind of acting up. I went to Leland High School in South San Jose, and compared to the rest of my teammates, I was a pretty academics-focused student, and I was also the vice president of our language club. And in my free time, I really loved making art. So during high school, I wrote several novels and published an indie video game. So I wrote my college application essays about those projects and how they shaped me as a person. So as a result of that, I was accepted to UCLA as a humanities student. But during college, I decided to switch into the sciences. And so I graduated this year with a major in cognitive science and computing. It's kind of like a CS minor at other schools. And that gave me a pretty well-rounded education in psychology, computer science, and neuroscience. So yeah, please feel free to visit my table if you're interested in majoring in the sciences, or if you want to learn about life and academics at a big university, or if you want feedback on your college essays. Next up is Dennis.
Hey everybody, my name is Dennis. I went to Davis Senior High School, and I'm from Davis, California. During my time in high school, I mostly also focused on academics, and my kind of extracurriculars that I participated in were cross country, as well as elected positions in student government. I ended up after high school going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I just graduated in 2017 with a bachelor's in software engineering, which is very similar to computer science. Something that's really unique about my experience at Cal Poly is that Cal Poly doesn't accept college essays when you apply. It's purely based on test scores as well as extracurricular activities that you participate in university. So if you would like to hear more about that experience and kind of like some unique schools and kind of how to maximize your college acceptance, maybe without the potential of a college essay, as well as if you want to learn more about leadership, computer science, or anything of that sort, please visit my table. And on to Joe.
Hi, I'm Jonians. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I graduated from Fountain Valley School in 2015. I was pretty focused on academics, but was also part of the tennis team. I threw shot put and discs for the track team. I was on the Scholastic trivia team. I got really into wheel throwing, pottery. I was also in a couple of theater productions. And then I graduated from Harvey Mudd College in 2019 with a joint major in computer science and mathematics. I wrote my college essays about learning from failure and remaining level-headed while making pottery. And so stop by my table if you want to hear about majoring in a technical field like CS or math.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. We got through all the intros. We're going to go now into the general presentation section. I'm just going to leave this up a second further. Try to remember the names. I believe Kyle has set up breakout rooms, and you're all free to move between the breakout rooms after the general presentation section. We promise it won't hurt our feelings if you decide, for example, you start in my room and you decide it's a boring room or you're not getting the answers that you want and you jump into someone else's room. Please go and talk to the person, because applying to colleges is very subjective, that you think most directly aligns with your college application experience that you foresee. So I'm going to go now and start the general part of the presentation, the first part of which we're going to go over college considerations. This is very, very important. Again, as you heard, some of us grew up in the Bay Area. So Angela went to Leland High School, I went to Homestead High School. They're both pretty competitive high schools, and still we always knew of Mission. competitive mission can be and how stressful it can be sometimes. So we just really want to encourage everyone to keep more than just the name brand of the school in mind. So the first point we want everyone to keep in mind is the area of the school. So what this means when you're researching which colleges to apply to, or hopefully once you get in, which to decide to go to, are which state is your school in? What is the city like? What is the village or the town like around it? What is the geography like? What is the weather like, right, of the school? If you don't necessarily do well in an environment where it's raining all the time, then a university in certain parts of Oregon or in the state of Washington might be really tough versus sunnier California. Also, what is the social atmosphere like in the specific town? So outside of just your college campus. And then lastly, is there anything that you want to consider with regards to the history of the town or the city? Is it a place that you feel comfortable in? Is it a population that you feel yourself integrating with and assimilating with very well, or a population that you think that you can really stand out upon? Now, the second point here is to look at university offerings, not rankings. So an example of this would be with public schools and private schools. It can be very difficult to get classes at certain public schools like UCLA, where Sharon, Angela, and I went. Oftentimes, you don't get the classes that you want in a specific quarter because there's simply such a large number of students at the school vying for the same classes. That's not something that the websites of UCLA or UC Berkeley or UC San Diego will tell you, but it's part of the realities of it. So it's really important to dig in a little bit deeper. Also, academics and courses offered. So for example, I chose UCLA because I was always enamored with the name of UCLA, right? One of the top public universities, or right now it's top in the country in terms of the rankings, but UCLA doesn't have an undergraduate business program. So Sharon and I had to minor in entrepreneurship, which was something that I personally didn't know prior. But if I had done my research, I may have chosen a different school, maybe going to UC Irvine, or maybe going to Babson College, which is a small private school that has an undergraduate business major that's very solid. Also, professors are very important to keep in mind. Understand that if you want to go to a big research institution, your professors are often there to do research and not to teach you. So their teaching styles might be a little bit more difficult to grasp. You might be in a classroom with 350 kids your first couple of years instead of 30 kids at Mission. And then also student life, the studying social balance that you want in your life will differ depending upon the school you go to. Internship programs are very important. So this is all under university offerings. You don't have to remember all of these. We're going to send around a handout of college considerations and this PowerPoint to your Mission San Jose CSF officers. But internships is really, really important. So no matter whether you want to get a graduate degree and want opportunities in research, or whether you want to become a software engineer like some of the folks on our team, you want to try to get some sort of a hands-on program. And it's a lot easier if you go to a school where various companies recruit at, or that has a strong alumni network, or that helps prep students appropriately for applying to these internship programs. And then the last point is grades, right? So just understanding, are grades extremely important to you in college? It may depend on whether you want to go to a graduate admissions program, in which grades are pretty important, or it might depend on whether you have a specific career path. You know that your bachelor's degree is going to be the extent of your education that you can foresee, and you may be okay having a slightly lower GPA, but again, you want access to some of those other offerings. Now, the last point on this slide is about housing and culture. So it's really important to also take a look at the environment in which you'll be living at. A lot of times there will be a culture shock, not just like in the movies because you get a roommate where you don't get but simply the living area in which you're coexisting with many students that may not live up to the standards that you've assumed that every single student, for example, in the South Bay Area upholds. That's not necessarily the case in college when there are tens of thousands of students at your school. Also understand that in some schools you will be housed in a dormitory with other students. In other places, it'll be apartment buildings where you might have to find them yourself. And also right now in the middle of COVID, you also have to make the decision if you're a senior. For example, do you want to have a blend of in-person or online learning? What are the specific institutions offering? And if you're a junior right now attending this, it might not just be for the subsequent school year. It might be for it might not just be for the 2021-2022 school year when you're going to be a freshman. If you're a junior, even if you're a sophomore, understand that universities, you should really read up on what the trends look like because there are a lot of older faculty that may not feel comfortable coming back to campus, or that enjoy the, I guess, the liberty of being able to teach from home, or teach in a more informal setting, and then just provide collaboration in person. So this might change in terms of the culture there. No, and by the way, as we go along, we're going to hold questions till the end, but feel free to drop them in the group Zoom chat. Please don't direct message me a question, just because there will probably be a lot. Just put them generally in the chat and we'll try to address those. That would be great. 3 more considerations. One is finances. Just simply one-liner is make sure to talk with your parents about what you can and can't afford, just from a personal family standpoint. And then it doesn't mean you can't attend the school of your dreams. It just means that you might be pursuing merit-based scholarships and also need-based scholarships. So please talk to your college counselor at Mission to get more information about that. The next is safety and health. Just keep in mind that some areas, for example, in in the greater Los Angeles area, we have 2 schools. One is UCLA, a fantastic school. One is USC. And I'm joking here because we're rivals, but objectively, the area around USC might be a little bit more dangerous for an individual to walk around in the middle of the night, versus at UCLA, you could, I don't want to knock on wood, but it was more or less safer to walk around at different times of day or night. You felt more safe, and then objectively there was less crime and illegal activity going on. So also they're both great institutions, but also asking yourself what you feel comfortable or where you feel comfortable. And then lastly, travel, transportation, communication. We all live in California, in the Bay Area. There's a couple airports nearby, but still, if you're going to school in New York, understand that that's a pretty long flight. And if a worldwide pandemic hits, for example, like the freshmen this year, it can be pretty scary to not know how to get back home, versus if you go to UC Santa Cruz, for example, and you're just a 45-minute drive away or 30-minute drive away, that's pretty different from going to NYU across the country. Okay, we're going to get into, that was the college application, consider where to apply to. We're going to get into the second of 3 stages here, which is the college essay overview. And we're going to go over always understanding what our purpose is, or what the purpose is of these college essays, questions that are pretty similar, honestly, and we're all super old. We graduated college in 2018 or this year or 2016, but still the questions are pretty identical to the questions that we filled out, which means that if you're a sophomore or a junior, you can get going as soon as you want on your college essays to start thinking about them. And the strategy is really, really important about how you want to go about these. So the first, in terms of the purpose, I'm sorry, skipping through there. Your college application provides a lot of information about your accomplishments. Your college essay allows you to put more emphasis on your personal achievements and bring in context. So you're using life experiences as a way to differentiate yourself, show how you're unique, and then be able to essentially, to boil it down, is you want to show the reader of your college application why you're the best applicant and a unique applicant for that specific university. So there's a lot on this slide, and I'll send it out, but this is a slide to look over. I just want to skip to this last point here about highlighting achievements in the context of opportunities that you have had, understanding that even within the Mission San Jose community, not every student is starting off on the same playing field, and that's okay. That's where your college essays allow you to stand out. And here, sorry, that was a supplemental point here. In this PowerPoint, I would also suggest looking at all of the comprehensive areas in which the UC system looks at your application. A lot of times students that we talk with haven't looked at this, so they don't even know how the UC system or the Common App specific schools are rating their applications. But understand that you do have a lot of places to differentiate yourself. So if you don't have a really high GPA, that's okay. One of the members of our team didn't have a strong GPA, and he got a 35 out of 36 on the ACT and did very well on the SAT too. So it's okay if you put emphasis in one of these areas instead of another that maybe slipped away throughout high school. Questions. So the UC system, these are all numbers that I think everyone knows here, will know once you do your research. We want to focus on the 4 short essays because you have opportunities to respond to only half of the essay questions. They're all weighted equally. Don't read into it too much. It's more about what you make of the essays and how you showcase yourself. So what we've done here is to highlight all the questions, and these questions, again, might change, but more or less they're the same year over year. If we're highlighting question 7, what have you done to make your school or community a better place? We want to focus on you and how you're making your community a better place and how that will impact your time at the college. And then step further, how that will set you up for success in your career. It's okay if you don't know if you want to be a software engineer right now. That's not what they're asking for. They're more looking for your reasoning and your pathway to get there. So here we would start with a story or a hook. This is our formula. If you have a college admissions counselor or even the guidance counselor at your school, they may preach something differently, so that's okay. It's ultimately up to you. We found success with students having a hook with a story, immediately showcasing qualities, focusing on personal growth, and specific actions and takeaways with specific examples. So you're painting the picture for the reader to help you differentiate yourself instead of just going straight to a cliche. And then lastly, sorry, differentiating point here is looking on or highlighting your future goals on the college campus. This shows a level of maturity, this last block, that a lot of students actually forget, which is college counselors, or sorry, college admissions readers also taking a look and basically judging the student. Do they think the student not necessarily will just succeed in general, but will succeed at our specific school? That's an important point. The Common App is what's used by the vast majority of universities. Yeah, we wrote here there's only one Common App essay, but there are a ton of supplementary essays that individual colleges can slap on. So we recommend starting early. And we've listed some of these Common App essays too. Similarly, you can think of the common threads between the UC essays and the Common App essays. So if you are a freshman, sophomore, or junior here, you're not writing your essay right now, start to think about what talent, skill, or interest differentiates you. Start to think about how your ability to be creative is different than your peers, and start to think about some potentially really heavy obstacles in your life that you may not have shared with anyone outside of your immediate family, that you think that would really showcase what you've been able to surmount, the challenges you've been able to overcome in your career. And people do often talk about very personal points during their college essays. And it's, again, it's okay if you feel as though you haven't gone through maybe what some of your classmates have gone through. It's all about what you've learned and what you've taken away from those experiences that will positively shape you down the line. This is the last slide here. It's just, again, we can read this later, go over other points, but just start early. That's the biggest thing. I'm not saying start your freshman year or sophomore year. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying the summer before your senior year, you can start thinking about what you want to write, because the prompts will probably be identical to what they've been in previous years. And with that, I'm going to end this portion of the presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Kyle or someone from Mission before we hop into breakout rooms, in case there are any instructions you want to provide.
I have a question for all of the panelists. Would you guys be comfortable talking about your experiences inside the breakout rooms? Is that okay with you guys? Because I feel like some of the people in our, most of them are underclassmen, I believe. So I think they would be more, it would be more, they get more experience out of this if they ask the questions just not about the college app, but instead more about their experiences and all. Is that all right with you guys, or?
Yeah, that would be great. And at the beginning, what we can do is, how about everyone in the breakout rooms, maybe just ask your questions, and then we can try to address all of them at once instead of one person maybe dominating the conversation.
All right. Do you mind sharing that screen again with all the introductions?
Sure.
Yeah, I can open up the rooms and they can just choose whatever based off of the list again. That would be nice.
Give me 1 second. Okay. You should be able to see it here.
Yep, we got it. All right, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms now, everybody. If you guys would like to join, each one is categorized by the panelist's name, and as you can see on the screen, there's the list of names. You can choose whatever you guys want to join. All right, I'm gonna go open up the rooms now. But Parsa, do you mind staying here for a little bit because we need to? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stay here. Sorry, it should be presented. There we go. Hey, Alejandro, I think you're supposed to jump into your breakout room. There are probably students waiting for you.
Hey, Parsa, how do
Gotcha.
you
I thought it was
jump into
automatic.
the breakout room? Yeah, I also thought it was automatic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Do you want me to place you into your room? I can do that for
Yes,
you.
please. Thank you, Kyle.
All right, I'll get that for you, Angela, to Angela. All right, and then I'll arrange everyone else in their breakout room.
do you want me to jump in mine, Kyle? It looks like everyone's here.
Yeah. Should I just assign